Talking with the Deputy Commissioner of Higher Education, Kevin McCrae. And Kevin, Regents meeting just wrapped up. I understand it was a busy time. So can you give us just some of the highlights of what happened?
Certainly, Peter. It was a very productive Regents meeting. In a lot of ways, looking back at a full agenda, there maybe is not one theme or one item that stands out more distinctly than others, because it was a pretty busy agenda from both an academic affairs and research and administrative and budget perspective. But I think that one thing that stands out was some important updates that the board received in a lot of areas where there's a lot of hard work going on across the system towards student success. So there were some significant updates on very good work that's going on across the system in areas like minority achievement, student American Indian and minority achievement. We have great coordination across the system with some strategies working with tribal colleges on how we can make our colleges and universities a little more conducive to success for students who transfer, for instance, from tribal colleges to a unit of the university system. On a separate subject, there was also a very good update on system coordination among our campuses on the subject of student wellness, and in particular mental health and suicide prevention. There's probably no subject actually more important, at least hand in hand with the eternal subject of excellence in quality of education, nothing more important than the subject of student wellness. And so the campuses are doing a lot there in terms of staying contemporary and effective to make sure we're doing everything we can for student success from a 360-degree approach. There was also, as there always is at a November Board of Regents meeting, the standard enrollment report that the Regents receive from across the system, and they hear from campus leadership across the system about trends and status update on enrollment numbers and management plans. I think you and I, when we've talked in the past, I may have mentioned that across the system, enrollment this year is down at the majority of campuses, but that's not something that surprises us when we look at demographics and we look at some of the factors. So, as you know, being in Missoula, the University of Montana is one of those campuses that is experiencing an enrollment decline, and President Engstrom was one of the leaders that basically was one of the leaders that has an enrollment management plan for dealing with enrollment fluctuations. And I would say that when you and I last talked, I mentioned how on the first day of the Board of Regents meeting, the President Engstrom's plan, the University of Montana's plan, we call it, received strong support from the Regents. And Senator Tester spoke to the Regents today, and he indicated that he has studied the plan that the President released earlier this week, and he had words of support for that plan as well, in terms of recognizing the difficulty of some tough decision-making that needs to be done, but in the overall aim, it's for the good of the institution and for the good of students. So really that's a flavor, Peter, for what went on. There was a lot that happened across a whole spectrum of issues and subject types.